Weekends? Who needs the weekends when we got a couple of awesome villains to just drag us all right back into Lorcana? Hi everyone, this is D from Moosh Report, and we got another 10 plus cards worth of card news to cover again. It's really coming in hot since Rise of the Floodborn is, of course, coming in next week. So let's jump right in with Amber Ink, starting off with Hold Still. So this is a 2-cost card which removes up to 4 damage from a chosen character. Double of Healing Glow, basically. It's double the cost and you get double the ability. Is it that great? Not really, because people aren't really playing Healing Glow even now. So yeah, we already have Rapunzel. So let's just keep on playing Rapunzels and let's move on to the next card. Next up, we do have Fairy Godmother Pure Heart. So Fairy Godmother finally makes an appearance, and whenever you play a character named Cinderella, you may exit a chosen character. So this is kind of a reverse version of Anna from the first chapter. Anna from the first chapter stated that if you had an Elsa on the field, when you play Anna, then Anna would actually exit those characters. This one in return is slightly opposite. You have to so-called set up first with your Fairy Godmother already on the board doing nothing for that turn. Then on the following turn, you bring out your Cinderella. So is it that fantastic? I think it's okay simply because she has the very basic same stats of 3-cost character with 3-4 and of course 1 law. So yeah, you can just play as a replacement over the wardrobe because that one does nothing. So yeah, Fairy Godmother for the win. They're all inkable, similar stats. Why not? Especially if you're playing Cinderella. So this is a nice card, but we'll need to see the strategy they can play with Cinderella, especially considering that Cinderella star-hearted. You can actually play an action card and then you don't need to exert a character to be able to challenge them. So is this that great? We'll see. We'll need to see what any other Cinderellas, if there's any more, and whether this one can actually fit inside the deck. How many Cinderellas do you have? You need more to make this a good card. Moving on, we have Madam Mim, Merlin's rival. So I'm going to start off by right away saying that the version named Merlin's rival will most probably be not accurate because the number of it is right after Purple Dragon, which means alphabetically it doesn't really fit, but Merlin's rival is the direct translation from the German name that we have. So yeah, it's going to be this for now until we get the proper English version to get the name. Then so more on the abilities now. It's a 5-cost character with 2 5 stats and 2 law with a shift 3. So you can shift 3 to play Madam Mim, Merlin's rival, directly over another Madam Mim. And then the ability wise is the exact same ability of Gruesome and Grim. So you just need to exert and you can play a character with cost 4 or less for free. They gain rush and at the end of turn, you banish the character. So the exact same ability basically, but you can play this for free. Just exert every single turn and you can just keep on playing your characters, especially your Merlin goats and your Merlin rabbits, to just keep on getting the value out of those cards. So yeah, this one will actually help you to get your advantage. The main issue, of course, is with this card is that you have to exert it, meaning that you're not questing. So is it that great? I think it's a pretty awesome card that since you can play Gruesome and Grim for free, you don't really need to use it. And then this basically incentivizes you to play Madam Mim, because originally my personal plan was that I was not going to bother with any other Madam Mims because you already had your Gruesome and Grim, and if you're playing with Emerald, you especially have Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo to make good use of those Merlins already. And you don't even really need to get them back to hand or have to play them out as a rush to just make good use of them anyway. But then now with Madam Mim, it actually makes that bit more sense, because if you can play this by turn 3, then you can actually get to activate your Merlins really quickly. And the best way to do it is of course with Madam Mim Snake. So that's a 2-cost character. You bounce one of your Merlins back to hand hopefully, and then after that just shift into this Madam Mim Merlin's rival on turn 3 and you can start playing your 4-cost Merlins like your rabbit and goat. So yeah, I think this card definitely has some nice potential and it incentivizes you to play Madam Mim Snake, which is one of the more decent ones anyway compared to Madam Mim Purple Dragon. So yeah, those are my thoughts on this Madam Mim. I think this will definitely see some play for the people who are planning to build out a full Merlin and Madam Mim engine. Moving on, we have Yzma, Scary Beyond All Reason. So 6-cost character with Shift 4, with 4/4 stats and 2 lore, basically the same stats as Gaston Intellectual Powerhouse. Then moving on to ability. When you play this character, shuffle another chosen character into their player's deck. Then that player draws 2 cards. Again, this looks like a great card to use for the Merlin package, because when you play this card, let's say you shuffle back Merlin Rabbit, it triggers its effect when it goes back to the deck because it leaves play, and then you draw a 3rd card. So this is something that can really make things pretty fast. The only issue is the Yzmas you have to play with. Okay, there's a slightly better one now, but yeah, there isn't too many good options. Let's take a look over here. Okay, we have Yzma Alchemist, which is a 2-drop, not too fantastic. You have a Yzma without Beauty Sleep. This is your wardrobe replacement. So this might be the best option you might have, since it has the best stats. It's a generic vanilla. And then you just go Shift 4 into your Yzma over here. So this is really nice. I think there's a lot of ways you can do this. Not to mention, this is the very first form of remover in a sense for the Amethyst ink, and it actually removes it back into the deck. So you don't have to worry about stuff like, say, Maleficent Monstrous Dragon and your Elsa. If it just went back to hand, it'll come out again. But this one, it goes back to the deck. Sure, they draw 2 more cards, but then if you're playing on tempo, let's just say with Amethyst Emerald, and you're just going out full out aggro, and then yeah, you're leading by law, and your whole aim is to just get rid of all your problems while you're just gonna keep on questing, and then you're gonna maybe win the game from there just by leading ahead from field advantage. So that's the whole idea behind this Yzma. I really like it. I think that this one would definitely see a lot more play over that Madam Mim, but yeah, both can fit. Both are Amethyst, both work well with Merlins and stuff. What's not to like? Definitely you're playing a Merlin package, you're gonna play Yzma. Okay, moving on. Little John, Truest Friend. So this one is basically just your vanilla 6-cost, 6/6 stats with 2 lore. Nothing too much to shout out about here. So yeah, it's interesting for the people who want to play a Robin Hood deck, and that's all I have to say. Donald Duck, Not Again. Now, this is the interesting one, because this one has evasive, and he's a 5-cost with 1/5 stats and only 1 lore. And the stats wise is not really that great, even if he has evasive, but the main key point here is that he gains +1 lore for each 1 damage on him. So this is a Ruby card, which means you can actually play Thief and Ambition, because Thief and Ambition, you can have 2 damage done to your own character to deal 2 damage to another character. So initially I was thinking that, hey, you will be dealing 2 damage to yourself, and you do 2 damage to another character, you make good use of it, and then Donald Duck becomes a 1/3 and it gains 3 lore. Whoop-de-doo, is that fantastic for a 2-card combo? Maybe not really, there could be better plays. But after that, Gordy in Discord reminded me that, hey, you don't have to target the ability of Thief and Ambitions on an opponent's character. You can just target Donald Duck, Not Again. Very aptly named Not Again, because for the damage on your side, you do it to Donald Duck, and then the targeted damage, you do it to Donald Duck as well. So at one go, he just already takes 4 damage, and he becomes a 5-cost 1/1 with 5 lore, which is actually pretty awesome in a way, because yeah, this way you actually gain lore really quickly. You actually just need to quest like 4 times, and Donald Duck on his own will win the game for you. And then he also has evasive, so your opponent can't really touch him, other than, well, there's a lot more evasive characters now, with especially stuff like your Cruella de Vil. So yeah, that's a concern, but I think that even just pulling ones off is pretty good. And if you ask me, Thief Ambitions, it's really the idea that if you're already about to win the game, then yes, you target the damage on yourself to get that extra 2 lore. But if not, it's actually still pretty good to just do 2 damage on yourself, 2 damage on your opponent, and he's a 3 lore character that you can just have evasive with, you can keep questing, and the Cruella de Vil I was talking about is exactly 2 willpower, so it gets taken out by that Thief and Ambitions just nicely. I think this card definitely has some potential, but we'll need to see more cards in Ruby Ink like Thief and Ambition, which means I need to see more cards that give some form of advantage by having your own characters take damage. So if that can be achieved, maybe some form of, say, card draw, if you can do 3 damage to your own character or 4 damage even, and you get to draw 1 card from that, then hey, there's more ways to make use of this Donald Duck, and then you can actually pull off a lot more lore gaining. So I think there's definitely some kind of potential in a sense of a sort of a extra win condition using this Donald Duck that can definitely be considered. This pack is full of them with your Alice and all that good stuff. So yeah, I think this one should definitely, if you manage to get it, I think don't just rush to sell it off right away. This is a card that I would definitely consider keeping for some special decks here and there. Moving on, we have Tuk Tuk Wrecking Ball, which has Reckless at 4 cost, 4/5, and he's uninkable. Which, honestly speaking, this is the card that really made me wonder what in the world is going on with the stats for the characters. Because, hear me out, Pumbaa is 3/5 stats, okay? And he's inkable, and he has Lore, and he does not have Reckless. So, Tuk Tuk over here, for him to have that 1 extra strength, he had to have Reckless and be uninkable at the same time. Which to me is a bit weird, and I really feel that I just can't justify in my head for anyone to actually pick up and play this Tuk Tuk, because there's so many other better cards that I will even dare say just a vanilla like Pumbaa. Yes, I know they're different ink, but that's beside the point here. I'm just sort of doing a basic comparison in stats that, yeah, I think they did him dirty. I think that we need a better Tuk Tuk. Okay, that's my thoughts. That's very weird for this stats for this card. Okay, moving on. We have Peter Pan's Dagger. So your characters with evasive gain +1 strength. Okay, is it that necessary? Because especially, okay, maybe I'm thinking too deep about, say, the current Amethyst Ruby, because for them, when they're playing evasive, the whole idea is just to stay in evasive mode and just keep on questing. So they don't need the strength. So in this case, is this that important, that major? I'm not so sure. Again, this is one of those weird cards that I don't find to just be that fantastic, because having the character need to have evasive is already a bit of a restricting condition, and you only gain +1, and it's a 2 cost that is uninkable. Sure, it permanently stays on your board and it keeps giving your evasive characters +1 strength, but is it that useful? Especially when it's a keyword that just isn't really meant to quest half the time anyway then. So yeah, I think that in my opinion so far, if we take a look at all the Ruby cards, I think we can do a review again after we actually see the entire Rise of the Floodborn. But I think that Ruby ink kind of got stiffed in this Rise of Floodborn set. I don't think they really got that many great cards. But yeah, we shall see more after we get the entire thing. Moving on. Sapphire Ink, we have Winnie the Pooh having a think. I think I like the name. I like the artwork. It's very nice. It's the very basic Winnie the Pooh, the teddy bear type. You want to squish him, and he has his honey. He's thinking very hard, although we all know he just doesn't think that hard. I like the artwork. And not to mention, his ability is basically kind of like one part of Belle ability, which is whenever this character quests, you may put a card from your hand into your inkwell. Now, Belle can just do it every single turn. You don't have to quest or anything. And she has the extra gain lore ability. But this one is a very nice, simple card to use. And why not just play both together? Because Belle, as I recall, is Strange but Special is 4 costs. This is a 3 cost character. Then yeah, you can play both together and he gains you 2 lore, still pretty decent. And you want to ram a lot faster if you're playing Belle Strange but Special, then yes, Winnie the Pooh having a thing might be a card that you will want to consider. Especially if you're going to play your whole new world and just keep replenishing your hand again for Sapphire Steel. I know a lot of people are talking about that. Then yes, Winnie the Pooh is definitely something that you can try out for the deck as well. Maybe even replace some Fishbone Quills. So that's the thought I have for this card. Moving on, we have Sardine Can. Sardine Can, all your exerted characters get ward, and this is so much stronger of an item card, especially if I'm going back to Peter Pan's Dagger, because yes, this is 4 cost, but characters gaining ward is very strong, because This is not even an Aurora thing, Dreaming Guardian, where they only gain what while she's on the board. They actually maintain whatever ward they have. The only issue is that they must be exerted. That means that whatever you just played, you can't let it gain ward. And also at the same time, in a way, it puts them to be vulnerable to get challenged for one time before they actually get to go back to ready state. Let's just say, for example, a Maleficent uninvited then. Because she has decent stats, she's not really worried about getting challenged too much, but the main thing is you want to make sure that she doesn't die to removal that easily, so you want her to gain ward. So you exert her, quest for 3 lore, very nice, and then after that, play your Sardine Can and let her gain ward. Fantastic. The issue after that is that, yes, your opponent can't use, say, Dragonfire on them, but the Maleficent uninvited at that very moment is exerted, which means your opponent is able to make sure that they challenge through their one-time round first before it gets to go back to ready and be safe. Not too sure Maleficent uninvited was the best example. I'm sure you can think of many characters in your mind that would actually be fantastic if they gain exerted. Cinderella Stout-Hearted might be a good idea then. So yeah, I think that there's ways to actually make good use of this Sardine Can. I think it's actually a pretty good card. I'm not too sure it's that crazy useful, especially if, let's say, you're playing against Be Prepared with your Ruby deck. But aside from that, there's so many now targeting cards with all your Last Stand and your Diabolical Scheme and all that kind of stuff that, hey, getting ward actually is really pretty good. And you would definitely want to consider playing this card for your Sapphire deck, especially if you're going to be playing some big boss characters like, say, again, Cinderella Stout-Hearted. So yeah, that's a thought for you. Last but not least, the last card I have is Lawrence Jealous Manservant. So when this character has no damage, he gets +4 strength. So that's the idea. It's a very nice 4/4 character at 3 ink and he has 2 lore. So that's actually really great simply because I think he can do his job already. I personally, I think that this could actually be, in a sense, a staple for every steel deck because he has fantastic stat. While he has no damage, he's a 4/4, which means that he's going to take out a good chunk of whatever character actually hits him first. Now, of course, the best way to actually take out Lawrence is, if you're the opponent, you send one of your small, most useless characters to just crash into Lawrence, and then he takes damage. Then after that, whatever you want to keep can challenge Lawrence because he now has 0 strength. So that's the best way to actually get rid of Lawrence. But is that really such an issue? Think about it. At 3 cost, at 4/4, he can actually quest for 2 ink, and he has already done his job because he'll be at least taking out one of your opponent's weaker characters. So that's already pretty good value in my opinion. And of course, in the situation that your opponent doesn't really have multiple characters that they can use to challenge Lawrence, then all the better. Then they have to take one of their better characters to hit into Lawrence. I think it's really good. I think this is a card that is definitely has some potential. Of course, there is gonna be always decks like your steel deck. Of course, there's always gonna be cards like, of course, there's always gonna be cards that deal damage. Like for example, your Thief and Ambitions and your Grab Your Swords, your Fire the Cannons, your Smash that could actually make him take some damage and drop him down to 0/4. But if you ask me, so what if they use those cards? Then your Lawrence has already baited out those action cards, those song cards. And yes, I think he's already done his job basically. So he's already made your opponent use up one action or item card. And I think it's worth it. So yeah, my opinion is Lawrence Jealous Manservant is actually a really good card for steel. Definitely like say a rank that you should definitely consider to play him. So those are my thoughts for these cards that we just got. Total of 11 cards over this Sunday or Saturday night, depending on where you are. Yep, that's the whole idea. This is Sunday midnight for me. So I'm going to cut this short, especially because it's just another few more days to the main set of Rise of the Floodborn getting released. And we still have like at least another 40 cards to go. 40 plus cards. Or depending if you're considering some cards that shall not be named or not. But there's a lot of cards to go. It's going to be tiring. I need to update the wiki and the site. So make sure you look out for them. I will definitely be doing all those updates as fast as possible once the news is out. So stay tuned for that. And meanwhile, I hope you enjoyed this video where I go through these reviews. And see you in the next video. Thank you everyone for watching this D-Summon from Mushu Report. Signing out.